The Jimmy Z Show.
Let's go into Hawaii. I love Hawaii, mostly because it's beautiful. But Hawaiian politics are like many blue states' politics. And the legislature in Hawaii has passed the same-sex bill that's been floating around, and now the governor is going to sign it. So once again, we have another state that is doing what the people in that state don't want, because the people of Hawaii are against this. The politicians, the liberal Democrat politicians, are doing what they want because of their agenda to normalize homosexuality. And they don't give a rat's behind what the people of Hawaii say. How the people of Hawaii feel about this. There were major protests against all this, and the lawmakers could give a flying fig. So once again, you have the lawmakers doing whatever the hell they want to, and it doesn't matter what the people say. The people have no voice. The government doesn't care what you think, no matter what state you're in. And I think a long time ago, the gay crusaders realized that the people are against this. And so they decided that state by state, they're going to go through the legislature and make this happen with lawmakers, not the voters. There's an article and a lot of material and information at Mass Resistance. That's the pro-family activist website based in Massachusetts. Unprecedented outpouring. Over 1,000 Hawaiian citizens testify at massive State House public hearing on gay marriage. There were 5 days of testimony, and 90% of the people there opposed same-sex marriage. Immediately after the testimony ended, the committee ignored all that testimony and voted 18-12 to move the bill to the full House. Insulting comments by committee members followed. And this all happened on October 31st. It was posted on November 12th here at massresistance.com. It was, by many accounts, the largest public hearing in Hawaiian history. Over the 5 days of testimony, over 1,000 people testified before the committee. A total of 5,184 people had registered to testify, but most could not wait for several days before being called. More than 24,000 written testimonies were submitted. Approximately 90% of the testimony was against same-sex marriage. And get this, it was at least 10 times as big as any homosexual marriage State House public hearing we've seen across the United States. There was an unusual outpouring of passion by regular citizens. This was a truly unbelievable show of civic passion. Hawaii is often rated last in America in voting and political participation, but the outrage across the state from Hawaiian citizens against homosexual marriage is greater than anything we've ever seen. And still, the legislators in Hawaii said, "Screw you, we're doing it." People came from the various Hawaiian islands to Oahu and often waited for days to testify, often at great expense and personal sacrifice. The fact that they could only testify for 2 minutes did not deter them. School children missed school to testify against it. There were reports of people being fired from their jobs for taking time off. People got their cars towed away. Crowds of people sat in the halls of the State House and in the courtyard outside night and day, waiting for their turn to speak. It appeared that the overwhelming majority had never testified at a public hearing before. How sad is this, that the politicians in Hawaii could give a flying fig about these people and the way they feel about their state and about same-sex marriage? In fact, an unusually large percentage of the testifiers were young people, students and young adults, who were visibly fearful and upset about how the imposition of homosexual marriage on society would affect them and their future children. Unlike with the organized homosexual groups, There was no well-funded single statewide group organizing people against same-sex marriage. Instead, individual churches, pro-family groups, and some outstanding activists worked in concert with each other. They used social media heavily. They kept citizens across Hawaii notified and helped them at every step. As expected, people talked about religious values and God's law, the confusion homosexual marriage pushes on children and families, how unnatural the concept itself is, the chilling effect on people's First Amendment religious freedoms, and we're seeing more and more of that, the horrible medical dangers of homosexuality, the radical homosexual agenda in the schools, and other obvious problems. So how bad is this bill in Hawaii? Here's what people are angry about. A large part of the outrage that people of all ages and backgrounds complained about were the contents of the bill and the process being used to push it through. It seems to reflect a sense of arrogance, obviously, and a lack of transparency by the liberal politicians who appeared to be interested only in pleasing a special interest group. That's the way it always works. Politicians are endlessly pandering to homosexual groups. And why? They're only 3% of the population. Don't believe this crap about homosexuals being 10% of the population. They are barely 3%. Closer to 2.5%. Here are some of the problems with the bill and the process. Bait and switch. Get this. You're not going to believe this. Back in August, the governor unveiled his homosexual marriage bill for the upcoming special session. But a few days before the Senate hearing, the governor substituted a different version that, among other things, drastically changed the rules for religious exemptions. Meaning that you're going to see religious persecution for anyone preaching that homosexuality is a sin. Number 2, unconstitutional. In 1998, the people of Hawaii voted for a constitutional amendment that they understood banned homosexual marriage. The legislature seems to be using an unusual interpretation of that law to create homosexual marriage anyway. Criminy. It's unbelievable. And it goes on like this in every liberal state. It doesn't matter what the people want. Number 3, these are the problems with the homosexual marriage bill and the process to get it passed. Let the people vote. People want to vote. The people of Hawaii want to vote on this just as they did with the constitutional amendment and not have 76 elected officials decide this for 1.4 million people. But the legislature is completely ignoring that. Number 4, being rushed through in a special session. People think a bill of this magnitude should go through the normal legislative process during a regular session. Instead, it is being pushed as fast as possible during a special session. Of course, they don't want to give people time to react. And even if they do react, they don't care. You know, I can't possibly read all of this because it's a very in-depth article. But I am going to play some audio here. This is a native Hawaiian expressing the outrage that many people across the state have over this.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It's amazing. Read the bill. You have violated and will violate it if you pass the bill. Section 23 of the Hawaii Constitution. You will violate Section 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I don't have time because you're only giving me 4 minutes. But check this out. You know what I mean? Oh, 2 minutes. Oh, 2 now. Hey. Check this out, yeah? I live in Aloha, but as a citizen now, because as a Hawaiian, I tied up. As a citizen, I tied up. My senator, Donna Makaro Kim, said no, but 24-4 lose. We're going to lose here. I already know, because God spoke to me. But check this out. Now, who being bullied? Who being bullied here? Who being bullied? Who being bullied? 1.4 million people. Who being bullied? Who being bullied? 1.4 million people, and not even 100,000. Look, my sister is of that lifestyle. I love my sister. I love my sister. She knows what I believe, and I love her. So don't tell me. unless you've been there. I love my sister. But check this out. Now, as a citizen, I tied up again. Why? Because 76 people plus one, all of you, 51 House, 25 Senate, says to me, you got to listen to me, Nathan, not I to you. 76 people plus one. Because I was deceived, trick or treat. Today, I was deceived in 1997. I was deceived in 1998. The law was so big that give you 76 people the right to vote, plus the governor. I was deceived. But don't tell me about a law. I am Hawaiian. I live here 55 years. I am Hawaiian. Don't tell me about equal rights. Don't tell me about what my people like. They voted almost 70% to 30% against. And what? Who's being bullied now?
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's wow, that's an amazing testimony. That's a passionate testimony. That's coming from the heart. And I've got some, I just dubbed 7 pieces of audio here. And it's all amazing. But of course, all of these people were ignored. Let me start the show officially right now, because I always feel discombobulated if I don't start the show right. And I'll be right back and we'll play more of this. I'm Jimmy Z. The Big Jimmy Z Show continues.
Hey, check this out, yeah? I live in Aloha, but as a citizen now, because as a Hawaiian, I tied up. As a citizen, I tied up. My senator, Donna Makaro Kim, said no, but 24-4 lose. We're going to lose here. I already know, because God spoke to me. But check this out. Now, who being bullied? Who being bullied here? Who being bullied? Who being bullied?
We're continuing with YouTube videos of people testifying before a committee in the Hawaiian legislature about homosexual marriage and a bill that will end up making same-sex marriage legal now in Hawaii. Against the will of the Hawaiian people. Against the will of the Hawaiian people. This is the way Democrats do things. If they can't talk you into it, they will force you into it. We heard from a native Hawaiian who expressed in very colorful terms the raw outrage that many people feel across the state. Now we hear from another Hawaiian, a public school teacher who is strongly against the law and doubts the integrity of the committee.
Good evening. Alex Shimizu, 2563. I oppose SB 1 and public school teacher, have been for the past 18 years. As a public school teacher, I am conditioned to always be looking for the main idea in things. And one of the things I noticed is that throughout these proceedings, there's been a common theme that has bound the LGBT community, the faith-based community, as well as you legislators sitting up there. The thing that binds us together is that we have a common fear. And that fear is that our voice would not be heard. We're all here fighting for our desire to have this bill passed or not passed, but underlying all of that is a desire that what we say would not fall upon deaf ears. That's our fear, that this is not just compulsory, that you're out there, you're listening, and that your minds are not made up yet. Our hope is that what we do and say here matters. That's what's at stake here. And I'm going to make a statement that I'm in opposition to this. With every fiber of my being, I oppose this bill. But I would rather lose my fight and be able to go to sleep at night knowing that my legislators went through the process with integrity. I would rather lose and sleep well at night rather than to win this fight, but knowing somewhere if I won, I was happy because my desire lined up with the hidden agenda. I wouldn't have peace because I'd win this fight, but what about the next fight and the next one after that? You have enough data from past voter history, from the testimonies. You know what the people want. Please do not corroborate our greatest fear. Please do not live it out. By hearing all of this and making your decision without hearing us, and having our worst fears come true. Let the people decide. Thank you.
A very well-spoken school teacher And of course, the people on the committee could give a rat's. Of course, the people on the committee, the politicians on the committee, couldn't care less about whatever he said. Next up, a researcher tells what happened in Massachusetts and describes the uncomfortable truths about homosexuality and transgenderism.
My name is Belinda Jacobs from the Christian Counseling and Research Centers of America, and I'd like to present some research on this issue. My number is 4858. This issue, actually nationwide, has been put under the guise of civil rights versus, and there seems to be a misnomer between civil rights and equal justice. There is no scientific proof that a gay or lesbian person is gay or lesbian. It's actually an association, like choosing a Buddhist temple versus a Catholic church. And people, I work with gay, lesbian, bisexual, and they do convert and go straight. I have one man, the abuse is so extreme, but when he comes to the church, he cries his eyes out. Anyway, I'm going to present decades of research on the optimal child rearing. This comes out of Geneva, Switzerland, and you can read it in an article under Gender Complementary and Child Rearing, and you're welcome to the article. Anyway, if we want to know which way our country's going or this state will go, let's look at Massachusetts, which is a train wreck for the homosexual community, unfortunately. 30% increase in HIV and AIDS amongst the homosexuals from 2000 to 2009, although there is a downward general trend for the general population. Hey, this is saying the truth. It's facts and figures, no religious bias. The porn industry does not have these alarming numbers. Large portions, 5.5 budget item, gay domestic violence programs. What's going on in Massachusetts? Would you like to raise your child into this scenario? Anyway, first-time blood donor, 60 times more likely to have HIV in the blood than the general population. 800 times more likely than first-time blood donors. 8,000 times more likely than repeat donors. Okay, that's why they may not give blood. My daddy's name is donor. Famous research. This is landmark fundamental research. Sperm donor children do not fare as well as even adoptive children. So there's new strains of HIV apparently. If you are doing a just society, you are going to protect the people of Hawaii.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
You are going to protect the children
Next,
of
please.
Hawaii. Thank you.
You see, these people on the committee, they can't wait to get rid of these speakers. And as soon as it doesn't even matter if you're in the middle of a thought. As soon as the 2 minutes is up, thank you, shut up, thank you. But these are fantastic. These people are great. This woman in the next video talks about the danger of small radical minorities holding so much power over the citizens of the state of Hawaii. And of course, this would be applicable in any state, or in the United States, for that matter, against the federal government.
Good afternoon. My name is Lisa LeBrun, and I live in Waikiki. I have been here, just as you have, for many hours. And I am very upset right now that there are literally more clerks here than our representatives, our senators. I say that with respect. My husband and I have lived overseas for over 20 years. And this is the first time in my married life that I have been back in the United States. People have died for us to have the right to have these freedoms. I lived in Germany, in the very area where the epicenter of Nazism was founded and thrived. History shows us the horrors that occurred because of a very small minority that was given too much power, because the majority either remained silent or were silenced. I want to divert from my written testimony and say the people of Hawaii will not be silent on this issue. If it becomes law, we will not be silent. Amen.
Wow, she was great. I wish I had her name. I'd like to give her credit. That was really good. I got a chill listening to her. The next woman is an Asian woman. She's a wedding planner, and she talks about how she will be forced out of business if homosexual marriage becomes law.
I am a wedding planner, and this Senate Bill 1 will affect me personally, and I feel, as I understand the bill, as it is written, that it will infringe on my First Amendment right in the Constitution to, say to potential clients, hey, you know what? I'm uncomfortable with what you're asking me to do, but let me refer you to someone else. I won't be given that right with this bill. That's my understanding as it is written. My third point is that, yes, in 1998, we gave the legislators, the power to decide for us. But even though I flew from Kauai, I actually live in Hauula. And in Senatorial District 23. And when Senator He decided to run for office, he told us that he would have our best interest at hand. And I personally coordinated bus loads of people from our district who were opposed to this bill. And there were thousands of our district here to oppose. Kahuku, Laie, Hauula, Ka'aaba, Kahana, Kaneohe.
Can you
thousands. Okay.
go ahead and finish your point?
My
please?
fourth, and so that's another flaw right there. We gave him the power to decide for us, but he's not listening to us.
Okay.
That's a flaw. Okay, my fourth point is, on the North Shore, we go to a lot of hearings. And, there's hotels that want to be built. And when they introduce all these things, they are mandated to provide EIS, environmental and impact statements before a bill can be passed or before permits. And I think we should have a human rights impact statement provided by the people who have introduced this bill.
Thanks so much.
To tell us what the impact is on human rights, which is just as important as environmental effects on us.
Any other?
Okay, that woman is expressing her concern over being able to do business once the governor of Hawaii signs same-sex marriage into law. Next up is Tito Montez. He is the head of the Hawaii Republican Assembly, and he pulls no punches in his testimony.
I know you guys have been listening to a lot of testimony over the last few days. I want to tell you that I'm in opposition of SB 1 for a lot of reasons, but I'm not going to argue in front of you theological reasons because many of you have no religion. A lot of you who do are willing to sell it out. I'm not going to make any illogical or logical arguments about what you guys do because, frankly, the legislature makes a lot of illogical and irrational decisions. I mean, you guys pass more bills to protect animals than you do for children. I'm not going to go ahead and talk about all of the empirical evidence that has happened throughout the United States and the states that have passed same-sex marriage and all the deleterious effects. And no, the sky doesn't fall right away like it will tomorrow or anything like that. It is a slow burn of how our schools get polluted, churches come under attack, privacy rights go out the window, parental rights go out the window. I'm not going to argue any of that because I've already been told by the governor's deputy chief of staff, Blake Oshiro. He said it on the news. Oh, these things will never happen. Well, think again. So I'm not going to rehash all those things over to you again. The only thing that I will appeal to is to let you guys know that you will, if you vote yes for this, you will be on the wrong side of history and the people will not forget. Thank you.
Boy, there's a lot of impassioned speeches here. That's great. Tito Montez, head of the Hawaii Republican Assembly. Now, next up, the head of the Hawaii Police Union testified against the bill in the strongest terms. In most places we've observed across the country, police departments long ago caved in on the homosexual issue. It's no longer unusual to see police marching in homosexual pride parades and being demonstrably anti-family in their actions. But in Hawaii, the president of the Hawaii Police Union testified against the homosexual marriage bill in the strongest possible terms. Honolulu police officer Tanari Maifala, and I apologize if I messed up the name, also is the union president, and he testified as well.
I'm just a humble servant, just loving the people of Hawaii, all visitors alike. No doubt I've received a lot of criticisms, like many of us here in opposition of this bill. We have family members who are on the other side that have this lifestyle, but guess what? In Hawaii, we don't call them gay, we don't call them mahus, we call them cousins, brothers, sisters. So yes, sir, I'm here against opposition, against many friends and families, but I stand by my beliefs. I'm not going to let any man, woman, or child tell me how to believe, how to pray, and how to live my lifestyle.
Being that you were, as a career policeman, you testified that this will turn you into a lawbreaker. You're going to arrest yourself after this thing goes through, or what?
No, sir, I'm going to arrest people. Well, let me step back. Like I said, first and foremost, as a law enforcement officer, as I stand before you, I respect and honor all laws as a law enforcement officer. As a citizen of 52 years in this beautiful island state, I'm a law-abiding citizen. The same values I teach my wife, my children, my 10 other siblings, and the 40 or so nieces and nephews and 19 grandchildren for my mom. The bottom line is this. The day I retire and bills like this are introduced, I will never, ever honor such law. You would have to kill me to disrespect and dishonor my Father in heaven. You would have to kill me to impose these type of laws upon my children and my nieces and my nephews. That's what I'm saying. I can understand. Again, prematurely, when this was first introduced, a lot of you had already showed your hands, which side of the fence you stand on, whether you're supporting this bill or not. And then here, in this whole hearing, this last week or so, I've been here just as long as you have, and maybe even longer than some of you have. But again, like I said, I feel for all of you that this has been imposed upon you by the governor, his chief of staff, and then the AG only can give answers of, I believe, but never I know in fact. I think. Come on. You're the highest paid legal advisor in this state. Come with some answers that are emphatic, that are facts, and not something that, oh, I believe so, or I think so. Even as an officer in doing my cases, I would never tell a victim of a case or even a suspect is based on facts, probable cause, just cause. That Attorney General should abide by the same thing. So unfortunately for all of you, by the will of the governor, you have faced the wrath of the people, both sides of the fence. And like I said, the injustice has been served on the LGBT people. You guys not giving them a chance to put something on the table to address their needs. And then if we're talking about parliamentary rules, majority does rule. As a union president, that's how I run business, based on Robert's rules, a majority rules. Yeah, there's a flip side from a humanistic standpoint. If you're talking majority, majority doesn't always prevail. It's true. For the minority, we as government leaders, we listen to what the majority has said, but we also listen to what the minority are saying as well. We're not oppressing them. Okay. Let's address their needs and their concerns as well.
Wow. I can't tell you how much respect I have for this man. He was questioned specifically about whether or not he would arrest himself when homosexual marriage becomes legal, because he's against it, and he stands against it. That's an amazing... Think about that. That's an amazing question in the first place. But then his answer is epic. I want to play it again.
Being that you were, as a career policeman, you testified that this will turn you into a lawbreaker. You're going to arrest yourself after this thing goes through, or what?
No, sir. I'm going to arrest people. As a law enforcement officer, as I stand before you, I respect and honor all laws as a law enforcement officer. As a citizen of 52 years in this beautiful island state, I'm a law-abiding citizen. The same values I teach my wife, my children, my 10 other siblings, and the 40 or so nieces and nephews and 19 grandchildren for my mom. The bottom line is this. The day I retire and bills like this are introduced, I will never, ever honor such law. You would have to kill me to disrespect and dishonor my Father in heaven. You would have to kill me to impose these type of laws upon my children and my nieces and my nephews. That's what I'm saying.
Wow. You know what? That is what this song is about. Oh, I'm on. I didn't realize I was mic'd up. Oh, that's funny. That's stupid. That sounded great. That was a great segue there. All of a sudden, I realized, wait a minute. I think the mic is on. That's the Cretans. And boy, I'll tell you, that sounds like the Ramones to me. Onward, Christian Soldier. And that is what that guy, what that police officer and the head of the Hawaii Police Officers Union, that guy has big steel ones. That's pretty incredible. Okay, I've got another video here. I have not heard this yet. When the chairman of the committee, Representative Carl Rhodes, arrogantly demeaned this woman's concerns, she held her ground and stood up to him brilliantly.
Good evening, Ms. Singh. Thank you for being here this late hour. Ms. Singh, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
25.
25. Okay, you were very passionate in your testimony. You and your group, you guys are making posters and all of this stuff. I mean, what's the big deal? I'm just like, I don't understand, because it's like I keep being told that why is there this distrust in government from your generation?
Well, okay, so I've been voting since I was like 18. I never really got involved other than just putting my vote down, you know, for my legislators and whatever else, and but when we kind of, like, me and my group of my friends, you know, like, we heard about the same-sex marriage stuff, you know, and our church told us to, like, look into the bill. You know, they didn't tell us what to do about it, but we looked into the bill, and, like, when we read it, we were kind of, like, horrified, and we didn't really understand what was going on. And so we kind of created a group to understand what was happening, you know, and, like, our group grew really big, really fast. And a lot of us, I guess, like, I think a lot of us, like, really believed in democracy because that was kind of what we learned. You know, like, when we grew up in school and stuff, they taught us, you know, like, this is what happens through the democratic process, you know, and we vote for our legislators. They represent us. They hear us, you know, and, like.
But this is the democratic process.
So
I
know.
Wait, no, so, excuse me, wait. So I'm just trying to understand. So can you please explain? Because some would argue that this is the democratic process. So I'm just trying to understand from you and your friends, why is it that you felt the need, or, you know, I'm hearing a lot from your generation that this is about distrust in government and all of that.
Okay, so we've established that you mistrust government. Is there a question that has something to do with this bill?
Okay, so.
Well,
sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, like, as we, like, went through this, you know, and, like, a lot of us were kind of horrified by what happened, you know, like, and we didn't feel like our voice was being heard, you know, and, like, we did everything that we could, and we submitted our testimonies. We came here, we waited to testify, and, like, we came here and we thought that we would be heard and that the representatives, you know, would, like, listen to us and represent our voice, and we don't feel like that is possible, you know, and, I mean, we have people that came here, you know, like, they miss work, you know, to come here. I have a friend that lost her job, you know, because she really believed in this, and she, you know, we have people whose cars have been towed, you know, like, they come down here, they miss school, they miss work, whatever, and, like, we have kids sleeping out in the cement floor so that on Halloween, so that their parents can come here and testify and protect their future, you know, and a lot of, like, I think the underlying message too for, like, let the people decide is not just like, oh yeah, you know, we want to, like, try and take away rights from other people. It's just that we don't feel like that our legislators can adequately represent our voice, and we don't believe.
Okay, thank you very much.
Let me just point out that we're about 10 minutes away from our 51st hour of testimony. To my knowledge, there has never been a bill in the history of the state of Hawaii that has had a hearing this long.
This is our only hearing.
We hear you loud and clear. Now, whether everyone will agree with you in the end, I don't know yet. But everyone has gotten to say 51 hours worth of
None of the neighbor islands have
testimony.
testified.
And
because they can't. They can't come here. And this is our only opportunity for a hearing. If it was a regular session, we would have another hearing after you made amendments.
Excuse me. We have bent over backwards to provide opportunities to testify on an order of magnitude that has never been witnessed in this state before. So
with all due respect, Mr. Chairman, we have
time.
not bent over backwards. The rules were as long as you had a number, you could testify. And now we've changed the rules in the middle of the day. That's not true, Mr. Chairman. We have not bent over backwards.
Mr. Chairman, Thursday night you tried to shut them down by making them stay all night. So don't say you've bent over backwards.
Okay. Well,
I've been here for 5 days. Every single day the rules change.
I do get to say something once in a while in this committee. And what I would say then, if you're saying that you would have preferred not to have 51 hours of hearings and it was all a waste of time, then we can shut the hearing down right now if you'd like to. Okay, let's move on. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, next testifier.
Mr. Chair, I did have a question.
Representative Foley, please be quick.
Okay. I have two quick questions.
Okay.
Are you being paid to be here tonight, Honora?
No.
Do you know that we're being paid to be here tonight?
I actually didn't go to work today, so I wouldn't miss my number.
But do you know we're being paid to be here tonight? Did you know that?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Next testifier.
Okay, I want to explain what happened there at the end. This particular committee member is probably against same-sex marriage, against this bill that is going to legalize same-sex marriage. By the way, the governor has signed it. So now the homosexual deviants, all of these depraved homosexuals, can party in the street in Honolulu tonight because homosexual marriage is now legal in the great state of Hawaii. But the reason this guy was asking her if she got paid is to point out that she is there taking all this time off of work so that she can speak her mind. Meanwhile, these lazy sons of a bitches who are complaining, this guy Carl Rhodes, I think is his name, he's the chairman, and he's complaining about 51 hours of testimony because the people of Hawaii want 2 minutes to speak their mind. And this guy, the chairman, Carl Rhodes, is complaining. We had to sit here for 51 hours. And he knew. The reason why he's complaining is because he knew none of this mattered. They were going to pass this, whether or not the people were for it or against it.
I do get to say something once in a while in this committee. And what I would say then, if you're saying that you would have preferred not to have 51 hours of hearings and it was all a waste of time, then we can shut the hearing down right now if you'd like to.
What a douchebag. What a scum-sucking douchebag. What a loser. Well, you know, if you're going to complain about having 51 hours of testimony, then we can shut this thing down right now. God, you just want to drill the guy. Boy, it's amazing. These politicians don't give a rat's ass what you think. They don't care. I looked it up, and somebody in one of the audio clips we were listening to mentioned that the definition of marriage amendment, whatever it was called in Hawaii, in 1998 was passed by a vote of 69.2% yes, 28.6% no. Let those numbers sink in. Nearly 70% of the Hawaiian people said yes, marriage is defined as being between a man and a woman. 70%. Less than 30% voted no. It was a wipeout. And so, of course, the homosexual activist community went to work, and they were not going to stop until they got what they got today. A liberal Democrat legislature forcing this on the people of Hawaii. A liberal Democrat governor forcing homosexual marriage on the people of Hawaii. I've got some quotes here on the Mass Resistance site from some of these committee members. This is Representative Kaniela Ing. He claims to be a Christian. I believe that we as Christians will begin to realize that homosexuality is rooted in natural law, just as God's law is. I believe that the writers of the biblical text had the knowledge that we do today about homosexuality. It would not be viewed as something you can simply repent from. Representative Jessica Woolley. I have never wavered in my support for equality. I feel obligated and very proud to vote yes, despite the fact that 70% of the people of Hawaii don't want this. Representative Greg Takayama. I interpret the right to pursue happiness as giving gay couples the right to marry if they wish. Representative Richard Onishi. For me, it's always been an issue of equality. And Representative Derek Kawakami. This bill has always been a bill about freedom for me. Now, these two committee members tried to talk some sense into the majority, but were unsuccessful. Representative Gene Ward. I'm very disappointed that you've changed the rules of amendments. As you've seen, I've stood up and I've given 3 amendments. They have not been able to be heard because of the overruling of the chairs, which I think is probably illegal. And Representative Mele Carroll said, I am sad because of all the people who came here and felt betrayed by the government because there was no transparency. We haven't looked at the unintended consequences. We haven't been given the time to just absorb the issue. I have to vote no because of the process. I got threatened by the LGBT community. Shame on you for doing that. Wow. Can you imagine? The lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community threatened a politician? Isn't that classy? That's the whole show. I didn't intend that topic to be the whole hour, but it's too important. Until the next time, Jimmy Z from the Left Coast. Bye-bye for now, everybody.
The Jimmy Z Show.